Do you know why mobile developers must prioritize accessibility testing? Why did Slack go down in February? And want to know how to learn and practice Kubernetes security using an interactive hands-on playground? If so, find out the answers to these and all other end-to-end full pipeline DevOps, automation testing, performance testing, and security testing in 10 minutes or less in this episode of the Test Guild News Show for the week of May 1st. So grab your favorite cup of coffee or tea and let's do this. This episode of the Test Guild News Show is sponsored by the awesome folks at Applitools. Applitools is a next-generation test automation platform, which is powered by visual AI, which will help increase quality, accelerate delivery, and reduce costs with the world's most intelligent test automation platform. But don't just take my word for it. Seeing is believing. So create your free account now by clicking on the first link in the comment down below. And while you're there, why not leave a comment, and subscribe to get alerted every time I release a new episode. First up, automation news. All right, this week, there seems to be a theme around accessibility testing. It's a trend I've been hearing more and more about. And I think once you see a trend in multiple different companies from multiple different people talking about the same thing, it's time to pay attention. So this next article is all about how Mabl has introduced a low-code accessibility testing option to Mabl. And so this article just talks about that this feature currently is in beta, and the feature empowers software teams to automatically identify and resolve accessibility issues earlier in the development as part of their end-to-end testing efforts before it impacts the users. The U.S. Department of Justice issued new guidelines at web accessibility testing. And so that's why we're seeing more and more of these tools coming out with these features. And Mabl is just the latest. So thank you, Mabl, for paying attention to the market and releasing this new feature, which I know a lot of people really need for their testing efforts. So this next article comes your way via Marie Drake. It's her latest blog post on testing multiple domains with Cypress. So if you don't know, Marie Drake is a Cypress ambassador. She's an expert in this field of automation and all things testing and development. So she's one of my go-to resources actually for automation, especially with Cypress. And this article goes over how the 9.60 version of Cypress finally allows testers for multiple domains. And it goes over some use cases for why you would have to test multiple domains, shows how to get started, and introduces the cy.origin feature. So just a really great article to get your hands dirty by trying this new feature out by step, by following Marie as she walks you through how to actually implement this new feature. So thank you, Marie, for this and all you do for the community. If you're not following her already, make sure to do so as well. So I noticed that Applitools actually still has their State of the UI UX Testing Survey open. And this is stated to be the largest survey of developers, testers, and designers on the internet. So the data collected will be presented in a report that will help guide the rapidly growing front-end and UI UX category in 2020 and beyond. The survey respondents will be entered in a raffle for prizes, including one of the 3 Oculus Quest 2s, AirPod Pro, and Logitech Brio webcams, and much more. So I'd love to know your thoughts. Definitely head on over to the link down below and fill out this survey, and I'll share the results with you once they go live. And I'm really a big believer in using AI for things like bubbling up insights where a user looks at it and sees whether or not it's accurate or not. So this next article talks about Digital AI's AI-powered DevOps platform, which just released a new feature for predictive insights. The new tool is called Ascension, and its mission is to literally look ahead into what's coming next and provide predictive insights for developers so they can avoid bugs, potholes, and accidents on the road to produce effective and smooth running applications. And what I like about this article, it talks about how developers spend roughly 1/3 of their time on low-level tasks that can be automated, so they focus on more strategic work. So just a cool use of AI with predictive insights that I think is going to become even more popular. I've seen other companies do this as well. And just another great example of how it's being used right now. And so I just heard about this company from a podcast I did with Marcus Merrell on my podcast. So it's funny how it popped up as a news item as well. So here's the podcast interview when I first heard about this company. But the news item that caught my attention was how mobile developers must prioritize accessibility to remain relevant and promote end-to-end accessibility. Goes over some insights onto why this is becoming more and more important. And this company, the Q Systems, is one of the leading software companies specializing in digital accessibility. And the interview I did with Marcus talked about they have some cool labs that they have in place that you can actually experience certain things from an accessibility point of view, which sounded really cool. So this is why this article really caught my attention. So I just thought it's a company you should know more about. If you haven't already, like I didn't know until Marcus told me about it, definitely check them out. I have a link for this in the links down below. Next up, performance and site reliability news. All right, so I have a few main folks I always respect in the performance testing field, and Alex Podelko is one of them. So I noticed he posted something recently on LinkedIn that I think you'll find a lot of value from as well. All right, so Alexander announced that all the load testing and benchmarking workshops that they recently had at their 10th International Workshop on Load Testing and Benchmarking of Software Testing are now available all online, open to everyone. So if you click on this link, Alexander is hardcore performance engineer. So if you're looking for real detailed, almost academic, also real world studies and talks, this is the place to go to for sure. It has things like modeling challenges and performance testing, how cost-effective load testing is, and a bunch of other really cool sessions. And if you're not following Alexander, definitely give him a follow, because like I said, he focuses on hardcore performance issues and he knows his stuff. So definitely a must follow also. And the FCA is about to drop new regulations on operational resilience regulations. I didn't until I saw this next article. So this talks about how the Financial Conduct Authority, long-awaiting and highly anticipated regulatory framework on operational resilience for financial institutions, came into force on the 31st of March. And as a result, more firms still have a long way to go before they can feel confident that they have met their compliance objectives. And what I thought was interesting is one of the underpinning things that you need to be aware of is understanding performance and uptime. And this is something that I saw a lot of companies used to kind of ignore. And now it's becoming part of some regulations out there. So if you're not doing any type of resilience testing or performance uptime, or so just another article that's been validating something I've been seeing or hearing more about in the past year or so, and that's the importance of resilience testing. So if you're in the financial sector or any sector in general, anytime I see one sector get affected with something, usually it's going to go into other sectors as well over time. So definitely it's time to get up to speed on performance and resilience testing and SRE principles for sure, as more and more of these type of laws are probably going to come into play in the next coming years. So whenever a large company has an outage, I'm always curious to know why it happens. A lot of times you don't hear why it happens. Well, now you can actually find out why Slack went down in February. And the article just goes over how Slack experienced a major incident on February 22nd, where many users were affected and actually not able to get on. And it talks about how the throttling load to Slack contributed a major factor in this being the issue and what they did to triage the incidents and much more. So just another great teachable moment that you can definitely learn from and make sure it doesn't happen to your company or your software. Next up, security news. So this next article comes your way via LinkedIn from Mark Lambert, who used to work at Parasoft. He used to work at Applitools. Now he's working for a security company. And the article he linked to was the latest T-Mobile data breach. You can learn all about how this affected T-Mobile. And they ask a bunch of different experts on their opinion on what the latest T-Mobile breach means to them, or what should it mean for people, along with some key takeaways that you should know as well. And as I was on LinkedIn, this other article caught my attention by Madhu. I guess what caught my attention was goats. I actually have goats, but that's besides the point. Article is about a cool resource I think you should definitely know about. And the post just talks about how they're really excited about the new version of Kubernetes Goat. And I didn't know what Kubernetes Goat was. So what I did then is I clicked on the GitHub link to find out more. And what's really cool is Kubernetes Goat is a vulnerability by design cluster environment that helps you learn and practice Kubernetes security using an interactive hands-on playground, and it's free. So I'm always on the lookout for interesting free resources for my fellow test guilders. So definitely check that out in the link down below. And for links to everything of value we covered in this episode, make sure to head on over to the first comment down below. And while you're there, make sure to check out our awesome sponsor, Applitools' free account offer, and discover how to take your automation testing to the next level, leveraging visual AI. So that's it for this episode of the Test Guild News Show. I'm Joe, and my mission is to help you succeed in creating end-to-end full-stack pipeline automation awesomeness. As always, test everything and keep the good. Cheers.